I've had successes and failures on my bullet journal journey, and I'm going to share both of them with you in this video. It's a new year, and most of us have set goals we want to achieve. I've been successful at meeting my goals when I create a way to track my progress. And one of the best ways to do that is with the bullet journal method. I have been using a bullet journal for several years to track my scrapbooking, and I filled up my first one and I'm creating a new one. I'm putting in collections or spreads to begin tracking my progress on my projects and my challenges. And I'm going to share with you how this one succeeded and failed on my first bullet journal for scrapbooking. The bullet journal method was created by Ryder Carroll. It's linked in the description, and it has a few main elements. I will share with you the secret sauce that was the game changer, and it's so simple that I wish I had learned that in grade school. I'll show you what it is in a moment. First, while there are a lot of products sold for journaling, I keep my scrapbooking journal simple and economical. I just use an everyday school notebook. But one of the lessons I learned with my first journal is it gets handled a lot. So with my new journal, I went to a plastic cover instead of the cardstock cover. A bullet journal that has a few components, and they consist of sections called spreads or collections or logs. And you can track progress, take notes, plan tasks, manage time. With the bullet journal method, you can do so much. And you use a variety of symbols called bullets to mean different things. I have my own set of symbols. I differ from what Ryder Carroll uses, but that is the beauty of this system. The adaptability of the bullet journal method is what makes it so effective. For scrapbooking, I track progress on my albums, progress on challenges and sketches. I write out ideas for making sketches and layouts. And some of my attempts have been successful and some of them have failed. Once again, I keep my system very simple because I want to spend my time scrapbooking and not managing my productivity system. I wanted to help me get my scrapbooking goals accomplished. So let's take a look. The secret sauce is so simple. This is what it is. Number your pages. By numbering your pages, you can have an index. In my new one, I'm calling it contents. But now I can find what's in my journal simply and easily because I can go here to find what page I need to turn to. When I get a new notebook like this one, I'll start numbering some of the pages. In this book, I've only numbered up to page 49. I'll get to the other page numbers as I go along. By having the pages numbered, I can use a symbol, a bullet, to tell me that this content continues on page 71. And on page 71, it tells me this continues from page 12. On page 12, I used an arrow pointing to the right to tell me to go forward to page 71. On page 71, I use an arrow pointing to the left to tell me go back to page 12. So I reserve the first sheet in my journal. Sometimes you may want to reserve more than one sheet, but I've always found a single sheet works for me. The very first sheet of the notebook is reserved to be my index or contents, whichever name you wish to give it. So now, as I am going through and making my new journal, because this one is full, I'm bringing over the successful parts of this journal And of course, I will walk through and talk about the ones that were not quite so successful. Now, this has been well loved. The pages are curved, there's little tears here and there. It's the contents, it's the information in the book that makes it important. And so I started this around September of 2022. So this has lasted me 3 whole years. And it was a bit of an experiment. Some things worked well, and some things not as well. So, one of the things I'm bringing forward is my key that I use for designating which album project my layout kits belong to. And I usually try to use a single alphabet. For instance, D for Disney, F for Family, M for Month in Review. And my key lets me know if the letter is retired or still in use. For example, Disney gets repeated. I have more than one Disney album. So when I finish the first Disney album, I will retire the letter D and then bring it back when I'm ready to work on another year of Disney. The second collection I use is a base page log. This was a big success. I use this to track the base pages that I make because I'm trying to keep the number down. And so this lets me know when I have exceeded the number of base pages that I want to have. And it's also a reminder for me to revisit them frequently so I can get them used. Now, the biggest success of all was my layout kits log. I started this here around September of 2022-ish. And when I made a kit, I would give it an index number. It starts with a letter designator and then the number in sequence of the kit that I have made, and then an indicator to let me know if that layout is a left page, a right page, or a two page, or an unknown page. I have made, I think, 399 kits so far. So I set aside a few pages for 150 kits. And I went through them all, and this, as I said before, is the indicator to tell me to move to page 71. Now, the biggest failure. I tried to plan an album in my journal. I set aside a column of the pages so I could designate page 1 was a right-hand page, 2 was left, 3 was right, etc., and what I would put on the page. It did not work for me, and I tried it 4 times. I tried it on 4 different album projects, and the reason it failed was because when I actually went to make the layout, sometimes a layout would be the one page I set aside for it. Sometimes it would stretch to become 2 pages, especially if I was participating in a virtual crop sketch challenge and the sketch was a 2-page layout. And I decided, yeah, I can take these pictures and stretch them into a 2-page layout. Or sometimes the photos really didn't fit on a single page and I needed to stretch it. So planning out an album like this, I tried 4 times and all 4 times failed. So that was a message to me that doesn't work. The next section in my journal is where I record the layouts that I make. Now, I had been doing this for 2 years before I started this journal. I keep track of the number of layouts I make, how many pages that they were, whether they are 1-page or 2-page layout. In some cases, I've made 3-page layouts because if you use a 6-inch by 12-inch peekaboo pocket, you are effectively making another 12 by 12 page, and I count it as a third page when I'm tracking how many pages I've made. And then I track how many sheets of pattern paper I use because I participate in the Facebook group 100 Pattern Paper Challenge. And there are 2 camps in that Facebook group. I'm in the counting up camp where I just count how many pattern papers I use on each layout until I reach the 100. Some people pull out 100 sheets of paper and work towards using them down. I have tried that a couple of times and I've realized that doesn't work for me. Now, throughout here, I take notes on a variety of things like techniques and things that have worked, status of some of my layouts and album projects. The next tracker I have, which is very successful, is I keep track of how many of my Creative Memories albums I have, what the project is, what the color of the cover is, and then I call this title, but this is really what the printed spine is to say or does say. This has been so helpful in me planning what to purchase. I like to purchase my albums during their annual special, and that's when you can get a buy so many albums, get an album free deal. And so if I know what I need to buy, I can take advantage of that deal. Also, I recommend strongly that when you buy your album, you order a custom spine with it if you so choose to have custom spines, because that guarantees that the color of your cover set will be in stock. Sometimes some colors go away, and when you go later to order a custom spine, they won't have that color, and then you're trying to get a best match or a contrast. But if you like your spines to match and you want a customized spine that says, for instance, mine will say 2026 monthly review or summer vacation, volume 1, summer vacation, volume 2, if I have that many pictures. I can order my spines and album together so that I know the custom spine will match. Now, when you order a custom spine, the cover set will come with its original spine, by the way. Cover set comes with a matching spine. If you want the custom spine, it will be in addition to the spine that came with the cover set. I do know someone who will customize the original spine that came with your cover set for a fee. And you can reach out to me if you wish that contact information. But keeping track, notice here it says continued on page 75. So I can just go over here because I've numbered my pages to page 75. And here are my current albums. I notice I have an album that I bought. It was a beautiful album that came out this past summer. I did not order a custom spine for it. Now, I took the chance. I knew I was taking a risk. I think the color is still available. I've written what the color is here in my notebook so I can check and order a custom spine when I place my order for my other albums and spines. Now, my next tracker here is about the statusing of my album projects. And my albums have basically 4 states. And I am upgrading as I bring forth this status tracker in my new album. I'm making it look a little different, but the states are of all of the photos that are to go in that album. How many pages, and I do count this as pages, not layouts, how many pages have a kit already made up? How many pages have a partial kit made? And that usually means when I know there's a piece of paper that I really want to use on that layout, I will put that paper with those photos and put it in that album so I'll know when I pull the photos that I want to use that paper. How many unstarted pages are in that album project? And then how many completed pages are in that layout? And I'm going to share one of them with you right now. Note, in this particular project, I have 0 unstarted layouts. I've made 6 kits and I have a partial, meaning I selected some paper I want to use for, which in this case is the title page. But I'm 7 layouts away from finishing this album. This also tells me that when I'm looking for photos for, say, a virtual crop sketch, don't look here. There are no more photos in this project. And it also, now that I've done this on January the 7th, it also tells me that I should prioritize getting this project finished and I can complete this album. And so this is a way a tracker is really helping me to accomplish my goals. This is a tracker that I used when I was working on the 101 sketches from the booklet that Creative Memories put out. It began on page 5 and went to page 105. And so every time I made the layout that was on that page, I colored it in with the highlighter. And this is where I kind of kept track of how many there were, so I would know how many remained. This is the tracker I made for the 52 Project Recipes Challenge. This was another sketchbook that Creative Memories came out with, so I wanted to make all 52 of them. This time when I made the tracker, I made a few enhancements. What worked good is this grid, and I also count how many I've completed as I work my way randomly around the grid. One of the enhancements, though, was to use colored pencils instead of a highlighter. I found that was easier. I just grabbed whatever color pencil was nearest. I wasn't trying to make it look pretty. I just wanted a good contrast so I could tell when I had completed that particular project. Down here was where I kept track of the kits that I made to make the layouts. So I repeated the numbers 1 to 52, and when a kit was made for it, I put a single slash mark through the number. And when the kit was completed, then I put a second slash mark, making an X to cross out that, so I would know that which layouts still needed kits made for them, and then this told me which layouts still needed to be completed. This also told me, because it had a single slash, which layouts I could pull from to work on at that time. This tracking system helped me accomplish this task literally in half the time. That 52 Projects Recipes Challenge was set up to be a one layout a week challenge. I didn't want to give it a whole year because I wanted to move on to other projects. And so, with the help of this tracker, I did get through this challenge in 6 months. This is an example of not particularly a tracker. Now, this is just an example. I was working on a Disney album and I looked at the number of layouts I expected to make, and I came up with 60 pages worth of layouts, which meant I would need half that number, 30 page protectors. And at the time, Top Loading Pages had 12 packs. Now they have 16. But it told me how many packs of page protectors I would need to order. And then I had a note, I need an album cover, which I just went over how I selected an album cover when they went on special. This tracker was how many collections of paper that I used by Creative Memories in 2024 and 2025. I like this, but it had a flaw that I corrected here in my new journal for 2026. And that is, some packs have 12 sheets of paper and other packs have just 6 sheets of paper. So now I'm going to track them separately. And if you look carefully, you will see that I use some correction tape. That is a friend of mine when we're working on journals. So if you want to buy supplies to make a journal, besides a notebook and a pen, some correction tape is a product I would recommend. This is a tracker that I started in 2024 where I tracked how many layouts I was making using only scraps. So you may have seen some of my videos where I'm doing that again this year. In 2024, I made 35. And here's my 2025 numbers, it wasn't as good. I only made 22. But I like this tracker. I like this spread. And I have put the tracker into 2026. I made a few format adjustments so I can put the total number here and then I'll keep a running total, which is what I did in my 2025. And then I'll be able at the end of the year to put my grand total like I did here. And I just count them off. I put a tick mark each time I make a layout with only scraps. This is just a list I made of some in progress layouts, and as I look down, it looks like I finished all. I may have finished this last one that's not checked off. I'll double check. And here is where I completed my 2024 statistics. At the end of each year, I start the new year off by lining the edge of the paper with some washi tape. So everything up to 2023 ends here. And now I cross out 2024 and I start off 2025 with some washi tape on the edge of this paper. Now over here is where I was tracking a big order of Shutterfly photos. I think this order was somewhere in the neighborhood of around close to 900 photos. And what I was tracking was the way I had to bundle my photos. They were in groups of 250 maximum number of photos per order. That was so I could get a deal. So when I placed my order, the first order, I put down my order number, but I also, when they sent me the UPS tracking number, I wrote down what the last 5 digits of that tracking number was and what the contents of the box would be. So now I still haven't opened that box, but I know exactly what's in this box. It's 250 Walt Disney World photos. And as I go through, I know in every single box what the contents are. So if I wanted to say, okay, Disney's my next project, where are the photos? I know which box to open. I don't have to open every box to find it. Here's some sketches, some notes on a variety of things, some notes as I was planning some albums. Once again, trying to determine how many layouts I would make and how many albums I would need to buy. Here was my sketches from my recent December daily, what each one of the layouts would look like. This is a tracker I made because I had to play catch up on my virtual crop sketches. I had missed October and November, so I needed to make all of those layouts. And that was to make them, to find photos for them, and to get them uploaded onto Facebook so that they would be eligible for the prizes. And so this is how I kept track of that and was successful to get all of the layouts for 2025 made and uploaded. Here's some more sketch ideas I hope to have coming up. This is the tracker that I use to track my scraps only challenge. Now that challenge, I was to fill a whole set of refill pages, an album's worth of refill pages, making the layouts using only scraps. And so as I'm keeping track of that, I've come up with my own set of bullets to tell me what the status is. If I've chosen some photos, I'll use an asterisk. If I've planned a kit where I've chosen some scraps I want to make a layout, but I haven't made it yet, I will use the underscore. If I have made the layout but don't have photos, I'll make an open box with the left side open. But if I complete the layout all the way to photos, I will close the box and put a check mark in it. So now I know the status. I have some completed. I have some papers chosen with photos to go with them. I put the 16 pages, and because you get 2 layouts per page, I drew this dotted line down the middle. If it's a single page, then it'll be a layout here and a layout there. But if it's a double page layout like this one, I will put a plus sign where the dots are. Now, when I made the kit, I gave the kit an index number. And so I lined through the index number when I had completed the layout. I have assigned an index number to this unfinished layout right here. So it's a layout that has photos now, and it has an index number. It's a planned kit. So I have a planned kit right here. And last but not least, I want to talk about this, which I'm porting over to my new journal. And it's what I call my daytime crop packing list. I think I'm going to enhance it and include a retreat packing list too, because that's a bit more expanded. And what I do right now, though, is I use this list and I put a sticky note here for specific things I want to take to that retreat. Now, this has been a very helpful list because I just go down the list and make sure I have packed each one of these things. And when I don't use this list, I guarantee you I have forgotten something pretty important. Now, I can also say I'm not taking this. For instance, I'm not going to take my Misty, or I'm not going to take stamp blocks. But all of the items here are things that just trigger my memory to make sure that I remember to take those items. So, as I prepare to put this journal on the shelf, I still have a few items I'm going to continue to use until I'm completed with them. And I open up my new journal. I'm bringing over the best from my first journal, the contents page, my album project key. I'm going to put my daily crop packing list right here. I want it early in the book so I don't have to hunt for it. I'll start my base page log, my layouts kit log, which span several pages, where I track my creative memories collections I use up. I will pick up at number 27 of my creative memories albums. I will continue to use the tracker that is in the old book. And I will do new status updates for my projects. And right now I will continue filling this in. It is letting me know which projects are close to being finished and which projects have many photos that I can choose from. And page 29 will hold something new and wonderful. So I hope that this has been a helpful organizational video for you. And YouTube says, here's another video that you might enjoy. So please watch it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fine, scrappy day.